So throughout this lecture slash hands-on slash verbal session, you guys are going to be learning a couple of things, all right? But before we dive into those concepts, the Dr. Falcon mentioned something really special, and it's about transborder scholars. So, how many of you have crossed this border before? Family, work, life, education, throughout the years? Anyone? Yeah, a lot. All right, let's do this. Try to snap if you agree with me. Right, let's go. Okay, good. Everyone gets that. Beautiful, right? So, you guys know where this comes from? Anyone? Any guess? There's gonna be a little bit of interaction, so you wanna don't hesitate to take educated guesses. Throughout the session, take educated guesses. I don't expect you guys to know everything, right? That's how I go with my students. I've been able to teach middle school and high school for the past almost 4 years, and I don't assume they know nothing. And I'll explain that shortly, but this comes from the ancient Greeks and Romans. It's a more poetic way of explaining and agreeing with someone. So, this. Just to give you a little background on me, I was born in Lima, but I was raised in Mexicali. Probably first 10, 11 years of my life, I went to elementary school over there, and then I went to Calexico, went to Dianza, went to Calexico High School, and the up here, right? Yeah, my guy on that side. And then Valley College, San Diego State, and then I completed my master's in teaching credential with Arizona State University. I'm some level too. But yeah, this is really special because we all have at least experienced it or know someone with this within the valley that has experienced this, right? And want to resonate with a couple of you guys. So let's keep going.
Press the arrow.
Oh, there you go. Anyway, my history phase is gonna come a little bit throughout the session, just saying. I'm a historian. Shout out to Professor Reyes, not here with us today. Any of you have any idea who's the guy?
Is that a straddle or
Close. We're close. Anyone? No. Come on. That's an educated guess. No, for the close. Yes. Who said Socrates? Beautiful, right? Okay, why do I have Socrates in the main picture right now? People are wondering, what does this have to do with standards and anything, or strategies? Well, this is my strategy, right? I'm gonna try to utilize the Socratic method. You guys know what the Socratic method is all about? Yes, no, maybe?
okay, teaches philosophies?
Well, yeah, but you're gonna get I love it. You're trying to contribute to the class. So, Socrates, unfortunately, is taking hemlock in his paint. I think it's at the Metropolitan Museum in New York. And this guy explained to one of his former students. And the reason Socrates is doing that is because he was sentenced to death by corrupting the youth of Athens. If you know anything about Greek history, shout out to Professor Beckman. You guys will know this, but it's okay if you know. It's understandable. The point I try to have with this is that I'm trying to have some questions and answers from you guys. So throughout this lesson, I'm gonna ask you guys to take educated guesses on the questions that I try to ask you all. So it's okay if you don't make the right answer. I mean, I would expect you guys to know everything, like I said. So I'll explain this a little bit, and some of you guys gave me some responses, so let's jump into it. Questions and answers, Socratic method. I have a student over there, or I have two, right? Yes. So you have been part of Socratic seminars. Anything you want to add up to the conversation about Socratic seminars? Because this is a strategy you can use with your students as well, all right? And I'll talk about strategies in a minute. So, what's the lesson plan? Anyone? Oh, by the way, I'm going ahead.
Yeah.
So another strategy that I have for all of you, it's a descriptive organizer. Avid, right? I don't know if you guys are familiar with Avid. Maybe you take that directed course in high school or middle school. But a descriptive organizer, it's useful for you guys to make sense of what you guys are going to be learning about today. And I would like you all to write this in the middle once you have the template. Basically, just write in the middle, how to formulate a lesson plan. How to formulate a lesson plan. I don't have a next one. I need the next one, that's fine. How to formulate an excellent, how to formulate a lesson plan. I have one. So with that, you'll see that there's like a sample, obviously with history. Yeah, way down late, but with the steps. Any volunteers that would love to read out loud the descriptive organized instructions for us?
A descriptive organizer is used to describe an event, topic, people, or theme. Students describe the main idea in the center circle. They can add symbols, pictures, or quotes to help clarify and understand the topic.
All right, beautiful. Any questions? No? So make sure you have that. How to formulate a lesson plan. No, anyone? What's a lesson plan? Hey, educated kids, come on.
There are organized plans of what you're gonna do for today, like what times you're gonna be teaching your classes using like warm-up questions before we're moving on to the main agenda. Then you give up, then later on near the end of the class, you give the students like classwork problems, and if they're not finished with them, they can work on them, but they can finish them as homework.
Absolutely. Take some time for that. You're engaged in the class. I know it's kind of silly, but I love it. Yeah, go ahead.
I see a lesson plan as a map in a classroom. So
Beautiful.
sometimes you know what you're teaching, but sometimes things can happen, and then you just go back to your lesson plan, and then you follow where you need to get the objective for the student.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me tell you, some time. All right, awesome. Any ladies who want to contribute to that? One. Statistically, females do better in school than men, just saying. That's what we have to gentlemen before. I think I did already, they don't count. All right, so both of you said a lot of really good things. So let's try to define what exactly is a lesson plan according to the definition, but you can always have your interpretations. Like you said, it's your plan, right? It's like if you're coaching basketball, soccer, or football, I don't know, I'm a huge basketball coach. I've been coaching for 9 years, right? And I always have a plan. Okay, what offensive plan do we have? What defensive plan do we have? What type of defense on a man-to-man, on a 2-3 zone? I know you're not understanding anything that I'm saying, but you know what I'm getting to, right? I have a plan. Same thing with teaching. You have a plan, and you can fall behind. You can go ahead. Sometimes during my class periods, usually second period. Second period goes above and beyond. They do everything. What do we do next? Work on something else, bro. What about fifth period or sixth? They don't want to do anything. They're tired. They're like, I just want to go home. So they fall behind most of the time. So I gotta go back to the lesson. But okay, we're behind. This is Wednesday. My second is on Friday. So I'm gonna just lesson plan. Hopefully we can, you find a way using the lesson plan. So please, write it down on any of the circles that you have, the descriptive organizer. What is a lesson plan? So a lesson plan is the instructor's / teacher, professor, roadmap, like you mentioned, of what students need to learn and how it will be done effectively during the class time. So that's basically how I could most efficiently describe a lesson plan. Lesson plan is the instructor, teacher, roadmap of what students need to learn and how it will be done effectively through the class. It's going to be a test at the end. Just kidding. So any questions or anything you guys want to add to the conversation of the lesson plan? Really pretty straight to the point, right? I mean, you guys need more time, you get it. I'll give you a couple of seconds. Have any of you ever done a lesson plan before? Have you for the conventional or for like yourself or?
I was teaching last year mathematics at Hopewell High School.
Nice.
And I had to create a lesson plan for it. Well, it's different, the lesson plan that the principal asked for it, but I still need to create a lesson plan for myself whenever I'm trying to give a new lesson to the students.
Absolutely. No, that's good. You already got some hands-on experience. U.S. what you said?
No, it's
Oh, you haven't? Right. Oh, really good. I'm just gonna use this.
Have we tried, this one? How about, yeah, let's work here.
Yeah, perfect. So now, okay, we got the lesson plan out of the way. We already know, we defined it. I have it on my notes for future reference. How actually do I formulate a lesson plan? Any guess? Anyone? One thing. What subject are you guys want to teach? Anyone? Mathematics. So you focus on mathematics, right? Yeah. Anyone else? Social sciences, where you at? Beautiful. We're gonna talk about standards.
Yeah, I was gonna say standards and then maybe the unit you're on as well.
Yes, the unit.
Because, I know for English, there's different, like transitions, you know, like American literature. And you're focusing on like British, authors and then, poetry and all that, so.
Beautiful. Units, standards,
Learning objectives.
which essentially is gonna lead up to a learning objective or target, which are the same thing. Yeah, really good, really good. So let's talk about how you properly formulate an educational lesson plan. And it's this, all right? I have a screenshot of one of my lessons. It was due this week with standards, a learning target, and an essential question. Now, I'm missing the objective. That's fascinating. Typos. But I have the objective. So please write this down on one of those circles. So you need to have the state standards. You need to have a district curriculum, a learning target / objective, an essential question, and your educational strategy. So what I'm going to be sharing with you all throughout this lesson are hands-on experience and what school districts are looking for. They want to see that you have standards. And we're going to define each of these bullet points throughout the lesson to make it easier and digestible for you all throughout this session. Hopefully we have, yeah. All right, so I know one of the titles for this lesson or session was how I correlate ELP standards, which stands for English Language Performance Standards, and also the social studies, which is history. We're going to define what is social studies as well, because first time I got a teaching job, my coach, I don't know if you guys know this, every time any of you will ever get a job in a teaching position, whether it's middle school, whether it's high school, whether it's elementary, there's going to be a coach. Who's a coach? It's someone that's supposed to help you in the sense that, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. How do I go from teaching history? Okay, well, here's the template. Here's a curriculum. Here's some resources where you can get PowerPoints, where you can get videos, where you can get articles. So you have a coach that is going through, like, to guide you throughout your educational journey. And I'll pause on that and keep giving you more info about it. You guys need more time writing this bullet points down, or you good? All right, awesome. So, what are educational standards? Yeah, we're gonna define everything. How are we in the dictionary? Any guess? Come on. Anyone? One thing like that. Preferably. No? Too shy? Anyone? Oh, yeah, go. Shoot it.
Is it like the programs that the government like wants you
Yes.
to physically learn?
Keep going. Good job. Beautiful.
Like, there's they want citizens to be able to follow directions and like get like employment. So there's like basic skills and like educational things you need to learn so that you can like get started. And then have further education like college, to get like more specialized things. But public schools like basically like high school.
Yeah. And it goes back to what you said about the government. So we have boards of education across the country, right? We have one for California, we have one for Arizona, and we even have a national board of education, right? That regulates the standards. And the standards are useful because you combine them with a curriculum in order to teach your class. And we're gonna look at specific scenarios of standards, so let's keep going. So I know there's a lot to write on your bullet point, but try to get at least, some paraphrasing for both of those bullet points. You don't have to write everything down. I understand if it's a lot. So let me just go from this. So an educational standard defines the knowledge or skills that every student should learn and be able to do at each grade level, right? So a seventh grader should be able to perform at a seventh grade level, right? And in so many cases, you see seventh graders not performing at a seventh grade level. They might be reading at a third grade level. They are the comprehension and vocabulary is maybe at a first grade level. And there's mechanisms to know all of this information. We have proficiency tests. So you don't really have to worry about this. Usually in the school setting, there's someone that is in charge to address these tests to see how the students are. And based on that, you have an idea. Maybe I should slow down with this student. Maybe he needs vocabulary on the board. And maybe you have to define it because he doesn't really know how to properly articulate this. Or maybe you have to read it step by step. Teaching, welcome you all. It's a challenge, but it's really rewarding and fulfilling. And you see the students succeed through their academics. All right, so also education standards are set for each grade, starting from kindergarten and then all the way to high school. And I have two specific websites that I want to show you. And it works for you as well. Like if you plan to teach in California, you can just go to California Board of Education. I'm assuming that's the website. I don't really know. But if you go to their website, you'll be able to look for every standard that they have for every single subject. Mathematics, science, history, biology, and the list goes on, right? So let me just click on this one so I can show you how it looks like. At least on my end, then there's the Department of Education. If I go through their website, right, I can look at all of these standards from, sixth grade all the way to high school or even elementary, I'm assuming. So for example, these are the social science standards by grade, right? So here you go, kindergarten, third grade, sixth grade, high school. Let's just say right now high school. You click on it, and obviously you have a manual. It's long. We're not gonna talk about that, but if you keep scrolling, you'll be able to see the standards, right? Like civics, the definitions, and everything and what you want to focus on. Just to give you some visual representation of what I'm talking about. If I go back to the lesson, as well as the English language proficiency standards that I was talking about. The beauty of social studies or history, anyone have taken professor courses? You guys have, right? Any of you? No? Oh, Professor Herrera is great. It will make you write and think and read. Any specific history majors in this class? No? Are you guys social studies? So it's not history. And I'll explain why shortly. So here it is. So we have more standards, right? Specifically for English language proficiency, and it stands for EOP. So we have kindergarten, sixth grade, and as well. You go through those. You can click on the links, give you the manual with all the specific information for you guys to look up and all right. Let's get back to this slide. All right, so any questions with standards? I know it's a lot of information. I know it's a lot of clichés. Just be with me.
And as you know, so in the syllabus, we have them for California. And you'll be referring to them for.
Yeah. So.
And also sometimes whenever you're teaching the curriculum that is given to you, it has the standards already that you're gonna be using.
Good point. Like within my district, U.S School District 1, right now I'm teaching middle school. It's beautiful because my curriculum has already the standards and the essential question for me and the objectives. So I can just copy and paste. and develop out of it, right? Instead of you individually having to go to the website, getting all the information, right? It takes a lot from the teacher, right? And it's beautiful. So, and we're gonna talk about school districts a little bit and how they work and how they can help you, because I'm assuming the moment you walk into a classroom, what do I do? I mean, I'm blind, like I don't remember anything I lived through my educational journey, and it happens, but you're not alone, you're not alone. There's people to help you and guide you through this. So now let's talk a little bit about what is a school district curriculum.
Or they decide to be taught each grade.
Yes, what they want to teach.
Like, could use the same curriculum, because when they change students from schools, that will happen a lot in collection, they're the same schools a lot. They
Okay.
will be at the same level every student.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone else, anyone? How many of you remember your district curriculum from high school? Let's be honest. I don't remember mine.
They speak high school that they don't have a curriculum.
They don't have a curriculum, so they assume the teacher knows it all? Well.
It is hard.
What's that?
It is hard because when I start teaching, I asked for a curriculum and they told me that they don't have a curriculum.
So you're facing that challenge within your
It's a
district.
challenge that you need to be working with the department you work in. So if you're working with science, you need to be working with the other teachers and try to be on the same page.
Like a PLC type of meeting?
But I think it's better if they have a curriculum, so everyone is on the same page.
It's on the same page.
So school penalties count as curriculums?
School what?
School penalties count as curriculums.
What do you mean?
Like if you misbehave, you get like a warning.
No.
Also here, it's like all the, let's say, math teachers get together and decide what the student needs. And
Yeah.
they use a testing program for it to be based on it, on what they're gonna teach the next school year.
Yes, absolutely. Any of you? To go back when you were talking about, my experience when I was teaching high school, with the Union High School District, we would have POC meetings and I would get with my department, the history and social studies department, and we'll try to be on the same page. Okay, what are we looking at right now? We're looking, because I was teaching U.S. history specifically, now I'm teaching world history, and I don't have a department within my middle school. It's only me, I'm the only social studies instructor. I have to get together with the English instructor or the science and the mathematics. But high school is a little bit more ready because I was able to get with my PLC team. All right, so we're looking at American Revolution, okay? Specifically, founding fathers. Okay, good. What about you guys? Well, I'm a little bit ahead. I'm already looking at the Civil War. Okay, maybe I can catch up in the next couple of days. So you won't be able to plan with your colleagues to try to be on the same page. But it's good if you have a curriculum. If you don't have a curriculum, it's more challenging. You have to be able to get everything, from resources. You maybe look at primary, secondary sources. You pull out your historian skills, you say. You go from there. Really good. So, again, we're going to be defining all these terms. What is a school district curriculum? So you imagine that we talked about it. Curriculum or course of study is the content and plan for instruction. It is made up of the instructional resources, methods, and assessments needed to help students develop critical skills and knowledge. So that's your district curriculum, right? Like for example, in my experience right now with Bilingual School District 1, it's a little bit enjoyable because within middle school, at least in Arizona, we are trying to help the students be ready for the state exams. So we have a curriculum. And because we have a curriculum, like I said, it's more enjoyable, at least on my end, to get the class more organized. It's called Nucera, and I think I have a picture in the next couple of slides. And Nucera basically gives me everything from the units. I remember first unit we're looking at the scientific revolution. And then we move up to the Age of Enlightenment. And now we are in the American Revolution. And then we keep going and keep going and keep going. And everything is already built up with the objective, with the standard, and even an essential question. And I know you heard me saying the essential question a couple of times, what essentially is. We're going to define that as well because it restates your whole objective at the end of the lesson. So, any questions right now within where is the school district curriculum? Yes.
So, now you said that they had like meetings where like you and your colleagues get together.
Yes.
So what happens in a situation where a teacher says like, like the majority of his class is struggling like with the assignments, they're falling behind.
Really good question. Well, that's just got to like adapt and try to navigate to the best of the abilities to try to get those students to the next level. And part of education is sometimes you succeed and sometimes you don't. It's a reality. I want to be really honest about this. Some students struggle more than other students, and how do we know that? I mean, I'm getting out of topic, but it's really related to being an educator. Sometimes you have to look at IEPs. You guys know what IEPs are? Let's just say a student is not performing at a specific grade level for specific disabilities, and we're gonna give you paperwork, and you have to look at what are the specific disabilities, and you also need to plan accommodations. What are you doing for the student to be successful in the class? Oh, I'll sit in the front with a really helpful student, or I'll give him extra time to complete the assignments, or he's able to, I don't know, like in my case, I've seen a couple of students that they need the headphones to listen to the audio so they can really process it in order to address a prompt question. Things like that. So you find a way to try to like get these students be able to succeed in the class because well, education is challenging. To be honest, so many of us have struggled at least with a couple of courses. We don't, So I know I'm getting a little bit off topic, but this is related and it's really critical you guys understand this as well. That will be a topic for another session.
Lesson plan, you need to include in your lesson plan.
What's that?
Accommodations that you're gonna do, you need to include in the lesson plan.
Can you repeat that?
The accommodations that you're gonna.
Yes, so you can, so when I first started, you would, my lesson plan looks like a 80,000 word thesis for the doctoral degree. I had everything from the standards to the accommodations, to the objectives, to what I'm doing Wednesday, what I'm doing Thursday, what I'm doing Friday, like everything with questions. It was ridiculous. Now went down a little bit of the game and I have some samples for you guys to look at through the session. And yes, you can include the accommodations with your lessons. And that is something it would depend on your district. They ask you to do or not. Like in my case, when I was with Union High School District, I was not doing lesson plans. They didn't require me to have a lesson plan. Obviously, I will create one just to have a plan. But it's not like, oh, every Monday, 8 a.m., students have to submit a lesson plan. With U.S School District 1, yes, I'm required to submit a lesson plan every Monday at 8. Sometimes I'll submit at 10 a.m. But I'll get it done. What's the learning target / objective? They're basically the same thing. Anyone?
The main ideas of like what you're gonna be teaching.
The main idea of what you're gonna be teaching?
The
Honestly, not even doing
goal for the class.
The class? Yes.
It's like the most important thing that the student has to know.
The most important things that the student has to know. Really good job. Really well brainstorming. So let's try to define what exactly is. Yes, I'm totally gonna have to write this down, but we're almost done, I promise. This reminds me of Professor Pimienta and Altamirano. Any of you are taking any Spanish courses with those two professors? You know who they are? They're like the OGs of this campus.
And for some of us who might not be quite participating, it's okay to like go back and like read out loud as well.
Absolutely.
To kind of like reinforce it.
Yes, absolutely. So what's the learning target and objective? You guys mentioned a couple of points. Really good job. Learning target are concrete goals with written in student-friendly language that clearly describes what the student will learn and be able to do by the end of a class, unit, project, or even a course. So basically going back to what you guys were saying, it's essentially what they're going to be able to learn, digest, and hopefully apply, right? And just so you know, all of these components that I've been talking about for the last couple of maybe 20 plus minutes, should be included in the lesson plan. So right now I'm just focusing on the main thing. Any questions?
you want me to help you pass those up?
Yes, please.
Are they the same thing? Different. Different.
They're a little different, but
We just finished.
no problem, yes. Hi, give me more time. All right, Doctora Falcone is gonna hand you a couple of lesson plan templates. One is blank and one is just filled up with the first couple of pointers that I've been talking about, just to give you an idea. Now, every template is different. Like I said, the first template that I ever made was, I don't know how long. This one is more digestible, obviously, nothing like I used to do. And also, your school district, not everyone, because we talked about it, might provide with a template as well. Let's say you get hired a teaching position, okay, where do I go? My coach, right? You got, I have a template by any chance, so I can formulate a lesson plan, and they will give you one. All right, let's talk a little bit about this. What is an essential question? Anyone? Yes.
Question, you want students to keep in mind throughout the unit or lesson?
Beautiful. Absolutely. Someone else? Yes.
A question that they'll be able to answer at the end of the lesson?
The question that we'll be able to answer at the end of the lesson. We get straight to the point. That's what we defined already, like 4 or 5.
This one?
6 ones? Yeah. I don't know. I'll try to make this lesson so short, but you can keep going and going and going. All right, so you, in front of you have 2 specific templates, right? One with the standards, the objective. Does it have the objective at the chance? Did I include it or not really?
Subjective?
Yes. Oh, yeah, learning target, objective and learning target are the same thing. And an essential question, right? Obviously, this all related to history. We're looking at the American Revolution in my class at this moment. So the other one is like, it's just for you guys to have a visual, physical representation of a template, right? Now, you might see a couple of days like Wednesday, Friday, right, or Monday, or Tuesday. You are supposed to write down what you guys doing through the week.
That will be the.
On the boxes, it will be more of like,
Plan for the week, like what you're gonna be doing on each day. So
Yes.
You write the objective, and then also the activity you're gonna be doing those days, and the assessment you're gonna be giving.
beautiful, yes, like some type of assessments, right? Like, for this quarter, in my class, my assessment was an avid gallery walk, right? We had an avid gallery walk. The students had, I gave students an article about the American Revolution. For example, some were looking at Spain and how he wrote the pamphlet Common Sense, so many centuries ago. It's incredible. That pamphlet sold 250,000 copies in 1775. Anyway, I'm into history now. But so yes, they talk about Thomas Spain and what exactly is the pamphlet, why it's asking all the Europeans slash Americans to declare independence from the motherland, which is the United Kingdom, and so on and so forth, right? But we're not gonna talk about that. Let's go back to the essential question, and we can talk a little bit about the boxes throughout the week. So, what's an essential question? Well, you guys answer, and this is the last thing I promise. Hold on, one more. I know your hand is hurting, but did I give you guys enough boxes or not really? Oh, I think, yeah. Essential question. Overarching or topical questions, the guide, the lesson plan. in terms of lesson planning, these questions promote conceptual thinking and add coherence to a lesson. Like, for my second question here, I have, what conditions led to revolution? Or revolutions to what thing? That's something to even think about. And it's a pretty complex question, honestly. Asking, like in my case, 7th and 8th grade students. Some will give me really patriotic answers. Yes, you know, we gotta defend the nation and we gotta go on and you're doing it for your values. Some other students will be like, no, I don't think so, Mr. Godines. You know how it happens at war, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, these are things that they make them think, right? So that's the essential question that I have for this lesson plan. But you can go on, the list goes on and on. Do you have any idea for what type of questions, essential questions you have for a lesson plan for mathematics?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What are rational numbers?
Beautiful.
What are irrational numbers?
No idea. I'll answer, guys. But yeah, it's a really good question, and students should be able to address that question, right? Any other things, other fractions, right? I don't even remember.
What are social sciences? What would be an essential question? I think we have a good example of
We haven't talked about it, but I'll define it. But go ahead, come on, brainstorm. Beautiful.
and there's no wrong response. So.
And we're gonna talk about facts and interpretation. What do you guys think are the social sciences and social studies? I remember I was asked that question when I was teaching and I didn't know. I had to do some research. And I formulated my own type of response. But anything that comes to mind.
Voluntary, depression.
Okay, anyone? You're taking into the guesses. I'm not expecting you guys to know the answers, remember? Yes.
Well, I would think social science probably takes into account like race and like maybe like income level and like how it influences, like, you know, like crime and, you know, like education levels and some of that, like employment and like, you know, it's like in
Social?
yeah.
Now we have to define social in science, like all those things. But I'll provide with a definition, something that I formulated myself after researching. You guys feel with this or need more time? Last one, I promise. Last one. What is an educational strategy? The part wonder. Do I need this in my lessons? Yes. That is something that I will tell you right now. In my experience, the last 4 years teaching middle school and high school, no one paid attention to the curriculum. They asked me, okay, what strategy are you using for the students to win your content? But I have my standards, but I have, no, what strategy? Well, I'll tell you what I'm using right now with y'all do. I'm using the descriptive organizer. They're supposed to help you all digest the information. Like, even when I go back to the class and my students don't know, there it goes. Yes. Oh, yeah, Mr. Godines, the American Revolution. It's about this, guys, you know. They were tired of taxation and there was no representative of the parliament for them. So it was unfair that they didn't want to pay the fair share of the, you know. So yeah, I go back to the notes and they're able to answer the question. So this is my strategy right now with all of you, a descriptive organizer. Now also the Socratic method, try to ask some questions for you guys to take a little bit and sort of formulate a response and go up on the. So those are my 2 strategies right now. And we're gonna talk about, well, what essentially is an educational strategy. And then this, and I promise the last one. It is a combination of teaching and learning techniques that enable teacher and students to create a fruitful and optimal educational process. So the way they're learning, I think I said this at the beginning of the session. It's like coaching in sport. You have a plan, right? And because you have a plan, you have an idea of what's going to happen to be successful. So my goal, if I know you guys want to discuss, not to remember anything, because I don't expect you guys to remember everything. I mean, you have something, you know, and you can always go back. Oh, yes, there it is. This was an essential question. There you go. Or hopefully through the Socratic method, spark your interest for a couple of ideas so you guys can provide me with some type of educated guess or any response. Any questions about what's in educational strategy? I can give you a couple of examples right now, and I'll say a couple of avid, because I used to be an avid tutor before teaching, and I'm currently using some avid strategies like the gallery walk that I talked about, the poster, they have to present it for the class, it's summative assessment, where they let me know what the article is all about, the main pointers, this the organizer, maybe we're looking at a historical period, they have to fill out the circles, maybe a one pager, right? A one pager is a little bit similar. You have to have a couple of facts about the information, and then you have to write a reflection about it. Not really a summary. I'm not a huge fan of summaries because you're retelling what happened. There's no really thinking or critical thinking on that. A reflection is more about, is this good? Is this useful? How this benefits me at all? It's not benefit. Like you think and you formulate some type of responses. So right there, I gave you 3 examples of some strategies that I use. Not all the time. Sometimes I have to go old school lecture. I notice like sometimes I need to break, especially in middle school. So I try to like mix it around. So. Okay, now let's talk about what's the social studies. Anyone?
History.
History? Yes. It's history. Yes. What else? Come on. Yes. Economics. Good job. Yeah. Come on. Government. Yeah. Keep throwing buckets. Let's go.
The arts of humanity.
Arts of humanity. Beautiful. Yes. You guys know already. Why am I even teaching? Come on. You guys don't know. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So let's talk a little about this. You don't have to write this down, right? I know your hand is hurting already. Social studies is an integrated study of multiple fields of humanities, the arts, the social sciences, which includes what you guys mentioned, history, culture, geography, and political science. And we can keep going and going. Like, I would even argue that the social studies are the umbrella for multiple subdisciplines. Any psychology majors in the house? No? Oh, you used to be a psychology major? Or you're an entrepreneur? Or...
Yeah, for my undergrad.
It falls under the social sciences as well. And we can keep going on with the multiple disciplines. Social work, anyone? No? I mean, in the future, maybe? All right, so just to give you an idea. So yeah, I would argue that it's the umbrella for so many subdisciplines, and history goes in it. And that's why when you go to like social studies, you deal primarily with history because it tells you like this kind of like the narrative of the world we live in and what happened, right? Any questions about social studies? Like what exactly are the social studies? No? What? Now, what is history? Last question, I promise, I think. I don't know how many questions I have for you all. Anyone?
The chronicles of our time here on this planet.
Great, yes. Any other? Yes.
Past event.
Past events? Timeline? Did you use a timeline to write history?
Recognizing historical figures like presidents, and other important leaders.
Yes. History, it's a lot of those things. And I have 2 definitions. I have the one that is in the dictionary, obviously. I have my own, one that I formulated. Because, you know, I also do a lot of research and critical thinking and try to come up with an answer that is more suitable in understanding. I have a lot of students coming up. Mr. Williams, how do we look at history? It's just past events. I mean, I would say that's a really weak argument. Anything else? Oh, well, you don't think like that sometimes. And that's good because they're thinking. So let's talk a little bit about this. Any volunteers? Because I've been doing overreading lately. Any volunteers? No?
If we haven't had a chance to like, answer any of the questions, it'll be nice to just, read the definition.
I'll
Thank you.
What is history? History is the study of change over time, and it covers all aspects of human society, political, social, economic, scientific, technological, medical, cultural, intellectual, religious, and military developments are all part of history.
They are, and the list goes on and on. History is one of the, I would say the beauty of history is that can be applied to any discipline, if you really think about it. There's a history of psychology, there's a history of social sciences, there's a history of mathematics. I remember the first time I got into teaching, I was teaching science. I didn't know how to properly teach science, so I was using my historical knowledge to create a narrative about the scientifics, individuals, and their contributions, right? So history is really, it's great. I mean, you can apply it to anything you can possibly think of. So now, this is obviously what the dictionary says, but I think history is more than that. Anyone know this guy? Nietzsche, German philosopher, known for his book, Those Spoke Zarathustra. No,
I mean, those who don't know their history are good to repeat themselves.
something attributed to Winston Churchill, right? Maybe. No, no, the guy who said it too. But anyway, the reason I come up with this quote, it's for something really logical. There are no facts, only interpretations. What do you guys think about this? It's really fascinating thinking. Come on.
I think it's true. Especially because,
Sorry, but
like, I know, you know, when it comes to history, is like you teach in your class. I mean, there's probably some topics you're teaching that none of us really know the true stuff that happened then. It's really just interpretations, what you've learned and what you were taught by someone with their own interpretation.
or maybe your own posture, right? Your own ideas, your own education.
The rightist posture.
Whatever the government wants.
You have to make conspiracy theories right now.
Or also like the histories that have been erased as well.
There's a lot of documentation, archaeological sites, objects, artifacts. Shout out to Professor Beckner, he said us a lot, that are gone, right? And we don't really know what happened. So the job of the historian, it's really fascinating. It's like a detective. You have to construct a narrative. And how do you construct it based on interpretations? Like let's look at a document, for example, right? A legal document. Read it, okay, this happens, so and so. Maybe he is going to look at this in a completely different way than I will look at it because I have different experience in life, right? And that's completely valid. So we all see things differently, and I would agree with Nietzsche in this sense that there are no facts, only interpretations. Something is gonna be inside us that sees things differently. And that's the beauty of life. And imagine how boring life will be if we all think the same. You all think or agree? It's okay if you don't agree, that's fine. That's the beauty of history, you can disagree. Right.
I mean, to be fair, it will mean less war.
Yeah. Maybe we have something about humanities, right? That would enlighten all of us and the reasoning why we shouldn't have a war. It's true, and we need more knowledge from other perspectives, from other individuals to grow as human beings. But how can I more accurately explain there's no facts and only interpretations? According to Nietzsche, this is not me. I just one of the greatest teachers of all times. So we have two specific scenarios. We have the American Revolution, and we have La Conquista de Mexico. By the way, I'm a huge Mexican historian, like shout out to Professor Herrera from this campus. He sparked the interest for me to dive into all the reasoning behind La Conquista de Mexico, which I don't think La Conquista de Mexico exists, but anyways, I'll talk about that shortly. And why not the American Revolution either? What do you guys think is the American Revolution? Or why should not be an American Revolution? Or why it's not an American Revolution? I mean, if you see the fact, well, yeah, because the American Revolution, I agree. It's thinking, questioning, going back to Socrates. What do you guys think Socrates got himself killed in the first place?
For questioning.
For questioning, right? But how I done today, I have questioned you all to think, right?
Questioning the status quo.
I mean, not in a bad way, just to think, okay, what is standards, basic stuff, like what's the essential point, like think, use your brain, right? So we have here the American Revolution. Say that in 1775, the Second Continental Congress, a couple of individuals known as Thomas Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton, George Washington, got together and they asked Great Britain to stop taxation. Please, because they asked for the please. And obviously the king said no. And that's a fact. The American Revolution. Because there were revolutions everywhere. After this, we have, I think the second, I think it was Haiti, I don't recall which one. And eventually we have Mexico, and then all the countries in South America, and then a couple of European, geographical areas declaring independence as well. So, what I'm trying to say about this is that, really the American Revolution? What about Mexico and South America, or Canada, for example, right? It's just one part of the American continent. I know it's called the United States of America, right? But also Mexico is called Estados Unidos Mexicanos. So we could also call it, that way. And another thing, what is actually declaring independence? Is it America or is it the 13 colonies? Declaring independence from who? Exactly. So why do we call it the American Revolution? I think that's because we have the notion that it's America and it's easier to digest in new terms. Same thing with Mexico, right? I don't think there was a conquest. If you guys are familiar with the history of Mexico, specifically the time of the conquest of the Aztec Empire, I don't really see a conquest because first of all, Mexico doesn't exist in 1521. There's a city-state known as the Aztec Empire, and the main city is Tenochtitlan. Right? What's the fact? Well, I know that in 1521, Hernán Cortés and a couple of Castellanos, because they were not Spanish, they were Castellanos from the Kingdom of Castilla and Aragon, because Spain doesn't exist yet. With, I don't know, depending on the sources, you look at 100 plus 20,000 Native Americans, or naturales, as Fernández del Castillo says, joined the Castellanos and they took over the empire. All of la conquista de Mexico, something to really think about, right? So, and the reason I have this is because it can be applied in the essential question when you guys are doing your lesson plans. You can ask some type of critical thinking questions for them to try to address to the best of their abilities. And I know for the majority of the lesson, I can ask really simple questions. I don't think it's more complex and dense and you have to look at more information. But you can also apply it in the essential question. Well, what do you guys think? You guys disagree with me? You don't have to agree with me, by the way. All right? If you guys think completely to me, no, I'm sure I'm sorry. No, Jaime. This Hernán Cortés, he took over the Aztecs, or maybe no, yes, it's the American Revolution because it was the first, geographical area in the American continent who declared independence from the land. So what do you guys think? Yes, no, maybe? There's facts, there's interpretations. What do you guys think? Anyone? Don't be shy. You can elaborate a little bit.
It's how we interpret facts.
How you look at the facts, right?
I'm agree with you, but what I think is, as I mentioned it before, is what we read in the books, what our previous teachers taught about it. That's what we think.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with you because as you said, Mexico didn't even exist at that point. So how can it be La Conquista de Mexico?
That's what it's called. That's why when you go to school, because I went to elementary school, that's my favorite subject of all time. When I went to Mexicali and I was in elementary school and I used los libros de la SEP, Secretaría de Educación Pública, I was like, what? 400 individuals from Spain came and they conquered us? Like if I was there, right? But this is how it is in Mexico. We have, and I include myself because I went to school over there, and we are part of this oppressive movement, yeah, but we're talking Spanish, right? And we also go to Misa los domingos a la Virgencita de Guadalupe, who was brought by Hernán Cortés 100 years ago, right? And by the way, she appeared in Spain before Mexico City and Tepeyac. Funny, nice. We should go.
Also meet that.
History. Let's go. All right. Yes.
I want to say I can't necessarily agree with this statement because it leaves this up, it implies it gives off some dangerous implications of like conspiratorial beliefs in history. Like, for example, a few months back, there was a trend on TikTok that claims that the Roman Empire never existed.
Did they give any evidence?
Yeah, something about something involving like the artifacts or whatever.
Yeah, they give you some sources, artifacts. Anyone taking the class with Professor Pimienta, how you can use the songs as sources. Anyone or no of the course? I never took it, but I know you took it and you were able to see like look at the lyrics of the song.
Like, there's mostly just the people's interpretations of the Roman Empire that ever
Gotcha,
existed.
gotcha. Interesting. All right, I just move on. I'm probably boring you with history. So we can wrap it up. I know we have a little bit of time. This is the template that I gave you. We want to take a look at it, right? Obviously, have the week of November. I submitted this probably like 2 hours late, Monday, but I have my standards. In this case, 2 standards actually, right? Because we talk about English language verbs, right? So here, this is the social studies / history standards. Analyze the purposes, process, implementation, and consequences of decision making and public policies in multiple settings, right? Now, this goes to my little target, right? We talk about the factors and conditions related to legal revolution. Throughout the revolution, we have a lot of things going on. We have the Declaration of Independence, we have the Bill of Rights, we have so many documents written with policies. So we have to look at those things. Also, ELP standards, write arguments to support claims with clear reasons and relevant evidence, use words, phrases, and clauses to create cohesion and clarify the relationship among the claims, reasons, and evidence. And the majority of the things they do in the class is reading and writing. Sometimes they'll have some presentations, right? But my goal is to help them read, think, and write. It's a useful skill, and you guys are not unstoppable. You're able to read, write, and think efficiently through life. So, learning target, like I said, American Revolution, the essential questions: what conditions led to the revolution, or revolutions worth it? Something for students to think about through the session, or the time that it takes us to cover the American Revolution period. So, with that said, I think you said 8:30, right?
Yeah, I mean, we end at 9,
Mhm.
so, but, up to you. I know that, I'm pretty sure that the students are gonna have questions as well. Maybe you can leave like 15 minutes for questions.
Okay. I do not. Okay, you have right. Yeah.
Great, so I do have some questions, so thinking about, our course and how, we wanna support our English language learners. Now, knowing everything that we know, I'm very interested to know how you, support our students. Thinking about like little Jaime.
Yeah.
And he was in Mexicali. What grade did you transfer?
I came to middle school, 7th.
Okay, so little Jaime, middle school, just taking yourself back to that time, that, why not that week? Do you remember how that was like?
Oh, it's horrible, terrible. I couldn't understand a single word my mathematics teacher was saying to me. And then they changed me with another teacher that it was correlating the EOP standards within the mathematics course. And he would have some specific like cognates displayed, because they're really familiar, right? Like if you see a word in English and you think in Spanish, it might be like comunicación, right? Or you might think those type of cognates words that might work. And that is something that I didn't really dive into it, but we have been asked to within our district. Make sure you have the vocabulary scenario for your week displayed in Canvas or on your board, right? So we have that specific terms, revolution, right? It makes a little bit of sense, right? Within the language. You're gonna look at Bill of Rights. Maybe that doesn't really make a lot of sense, but you also have to define those terms for students to learn what they mean. So vocabulary will be a useful thing you can apply in your classroom. Really good question. I don't know if I address it or if you want more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's a great opportunity to like dive in and explore from your experience in the classroom, but even I know that the class also submitted their report for their interviews that they just did with an emerging bilingual. And you also have great, recommendations as well, right? That you would implement, some of those strategies. One really good strategy was sometimes you have to assess what your students know. What is it that they, like, what is it that they already know? And you even addressed it as well, the importance of, like, already we're starting with educated guesses, right? So, yeah, I think it'd be a good time to explore strategies, because this is, a time where actually, literally, our students are gonna be applying those strategies for the next assignment. And, for our class, some of the strategies already used here, like, for example, the descriptive organizer. Like, if you want, to use this, for some of you, maybe the social sciences and history, but why not even math? Maybe you wanna use this as well, but perhaps, the descriptive organizer, depending on the student that you might have, maybe being bilingual might be good, right? And then, of course, maybe you're bilingual, PowerPoint, but then, maybe your lesson could be in translanguaging, in English and Spanish and Spanish.
That's what I think. He knew the language, so he was able to ask me questions in Espanol. Or check for understanding. Hey, Jaime, ¿entendiste más o menos? What do you need to redirect you throughout the session? So that's another thing. You can always redirect students. You can ask them individually, checking for understanding with questions in Espanol. If you guys are able to communicate in Spanish properly, that would be great. So you want to know a little more strategies or
your students? Like talking about your student that you have you have like English language?
Well, yes, so I'm in Yuma, right? I have a lot of students coming from Godines, and when I taught in Yuma High School District, I love it because I was in San Luis, Arizona, which is next to San Luis Rio Colorado, and I was taking kids from across the border. They say, hey, ¿qué onda? ¿Cómo estuvo la fila hoy? Estaba toda la gente del campo, se hizo la filota. Actually, I didn't talk about this, but the first picture that I have, crossing, I crossed the border when I was in middle school for like the first 2 years. Me tocaron las pilotas. Thankfully, we had, the estudiante y todo. Yes, I have a lot of students that, struggle with the language as well. And I try to find ways to help them. Sometimes I would translate the words for them. Now we have computers. The computers, they can go to Google Translate. Now, it doesn't translate 100%. We know that. But I have students, like, for example, my best student in class, her name is Carmen. I love Carmen. She's from Godines. Her mom is a teacher in Godines as well. And Carmen has no idea what I'm saying in the classroom in English. Pero él la miro. Cuando there's a traducción from the Google Translate. So it's also beauty that you have, the student actually trying to learn a little bit and, find a way to yeah, so I really encourage them to, use a translator. It might not be 100%, so let me just check. Oh, es que mira aquí la sentence, el verbo predicado no está bien, hay que cambiarlo. So you always redirect. You always try. I always look at the writings. I always look at how they're pronouncing the words, the phonetics, and all those aspects for them to improve little by little. It's a lot. We know it's a lot. It's a lot to digest. It's a lot every single day. So just find ways to help them be successful in the class.
Do you ever use like ELD standards?
Yeah, we don't call it ELD in Arizona. I don't know. You guys still use the term in California for ELD? English language. Yes, I was an ELD student when I came here, and I remember a couple of maybe not so much, but 7th, 8th grade, in an ELD class, I would have my teacher, Miss. What's her name? Yeah, the answer. Romero. I don't know if you guys know her. She was amazing. Miss Romero, she was my ELD teacher. And I remember she would, me hablar en español. ¿Qué, Jaime? ¿Entendiste? Tienes que hacer. Ay, sí, el vocabulario, tengo que sacar las definiciones y todo. Okay, ¿qué no entiendes? Oh, I don't understand what this word means. Oh, have you tried to go to the dictionary? Someone told me back in the day, we didn't have a phone book, so I was going, and sorry for the term, right? Yeah, and I was okay, I still don't know, okay, well, ¿qué no entiendes? Well, this term, okay, significa esto, right? So, we don't really use EOD over there, but we use the EOPs. which are the English language proficiency standards. And also, if you go to the website, and I'm assuming in California it's the same thing, not only will it give you like the standards and the definitions, it will give you like specific ways on how to run the show in the class. Okay, focus on vocabulary, focus on.
Videos.
Yes. Beautiful, I don't have videos, but that's great. Focus on complete sentences. Focus on not making mistakes in grammar such as, run-ins and typos and all that sort of things. Like the standards are really useful because it gives you samples on how to properly like use them in the classroom with EOPs, which I think it's basically the same thing as EOP. And how do I use them? Well, I try to incorporate them. Maybe for someone that is not able to, formulate a sentence, I have to go step by step. Okay, what's the subject, the verb, this term, and so on. So I try to define everything. Like it's lesson, everything was defined. I don't really notice. We define every single thing. So
Do you find it helpful sometimes to use integrated or designated instruction, like to maybe support the students that need more help, maybe having designated?
according to the student needs. So if I have to do it, I will do it because at the end of the day, the student is our responsibility. And if they need to designate it, I will stick with it. And if they need another option, I will stick with it as well. Whatever suits the student's needs. So you don't have to ask the student sometimes randomly, hey, what do you think? Is this working for you? Or maybe we should try this strategy. We should go with this strategy, maybe. All right, give it a try. If it's a success, stick with it. If not, you can keep switching it a little bit. It's like a little bit of coaching, switch back and forth to see what they're giving you in order to be successful. Yes. I will stick with either or, whatever is more useful for the student at the end of the day. Any of you have questions? Still got like 15 minutes. I think I have to finish before. Thanks, early today.
I know, yeah, definitely. No, I hear you. But this is definitely a good time to explore and ask questions, especially for the lesson plans that you're thinking of for next week.
Oh, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, so I gave you two samples, right? I gave you one with the specific components, what we're looking in the classroom, but also the blank one, just so you guys have an idea of what it looks like. Yeah. This is really simple, compared to the ones I used to do, right? Like you have Monday through Friday, and within my district, we are an AVID school, right? Advancement by Individual Determination, that's what it stands for. We focus a lot on writing, anchoring, collaboration, organization, reading. And if you see, it also asks you, okay, how will students use writing as a tool of learning? Maybe you can log into your AVID website and try to look for some strategies that you can use for Monday, right? Or Tuesday or Wednesday. What type of anchoring, right? What questions will I ask? And at what point in the lesson will they be asked? Everything is strategically placed for you guys. How will I facilitate? That's another term. I haven't talked about this. We're not really teachers anymore. I mean, I went through my experience within middle school and high school. They're switching the term to facilitator. Let's orientate everything to the student. So you think a little bit like less of your shoulder, like, because it's a lot. Teaching is a lot. As you guys can see, like filling out this forms every day. Oh, it's a public school. Yeah, it's public school. U.S. School District 1 is a public school.
So you're not gonna what it was called AVID?
Oh, so AVID is an organization. AVID focuses primarily on strategies for students to be successful in knowledge. I think
doesn't it need to be more than just telling students to take notes of what you're reading on your whiteboard on the projected screen, or how will students use writing as a tool for learning?
so. The one that says organization?
For writing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Writing, how students use writing as a tool for learning?
Yeah, do I need to explain more than just having students write down on their notes?
Oh, okay, so I can elaborate a little bit on that. So we have focus notes. I don't know if you're familiar with them. Okay, so I provide students with a template, right?
Yeah.
They write down the objective, the essential question, the theme, the class period, so on. But they also take notes on a corner style method, right?
Yeah.
So the right side, they formulate the bullet points, and then they come up with questions, and they also come with a reflection at the end. Before they do the reflection, they have to annotate. Now, anyone knows what annotating is? Anyone? What's up?
Reading something, maybe as soon as you read it, you find something, oh, this is gonna be a main point.
Exactly.
Down.
Good. You can circle, you can have question marks, maybe you don't understand it, you can scratch things out, you can have star. Why you annotate? Because this is going to help you formulate a reflection at the end of what you just learned. That way you're thinking, and when you're thinking, you're able to write, and if you're able to write, you provide with the knowledge and understanding of a lesson. So that is something useful as a strategy as well. And it also keeps you organized. I have my notes for social studies, here's all the information. I also have this notes, focus notes for mathematics or science. That's also another strategy, writing strategy that you use. But there's multiple, like there's constant level of thinking questions, right? Where students formulate questions about the lesson, and they have levels. Level 1 is this, level 2 is this. And we can go on, the list goes on and on with type of strategies you can use. But what I want to talk about in this process is, so my district focuses on vocabulary, writing, English, collaboration, organization, and reading. And throughout this week, I'm expected to use some type of strategy within the social studies. It doesn't have to be every day, like we're doing Monday to Friday notes. No, maybe you want to switch it up a little bit, right? And do your notes on Wednesday. We might do a one-pager, right? Or we might do a little bit old school. Let's read this article and here are the vocabulary words, and let's try to address this prompt question, right? I would say that you're doing WICR, which stands for all of these terms, every single day. You're reading, you're writing, you're thinking, you're brainstorming.
And you use close reading?
Close reading as well. So the beauty of teaching, you can choose what you want. Obviously, what suits the student's needs, but you can brainstorm as much as you want and look for strategies to implement with your classmates. With your students on the session. So it's up to you. You're pretty much the one that is running the show. But like I said, I haven't really talked a lot about, like besides that, like you have a coach. You also have an instructional leader, the head of your department, right? They can help you. You can look at the sources. What type of sources we have within district? Well, within my district, I have newsletter. Newsletter gives me a bunch of articles, give me a bunch of PowerPoints, give me lesson plans, already made lesson plans, you see. And I also have, specific resources such as, we're an avid school. What type of strategies can I use? Are we going to some institute this year or not? So I can, get the hands-on and apply it through the training and then come back to classroom and use them. So it also depends a lot on your district. Some are more limited than others, like you mentioned. So welcome to education.